I broke one promise and almost lost everything.
In the village of Ogidi, nestled between the forest and the river, there lived a man named Dubem who believed he had married the perfect woman. Her name was Amara, and she had appeared in the village 3 years ago during the rainy season, seeking shelter from a storm. She was beautiful, skin like polished mahogany, eyes that seemed to hold starlight, but more than her beauty, it was her kindness that captured hearts. She healed the sick with herbs, helped with harvests, and never spoke ill of anyone. Dubem had courted her for months before she finally agreed to marry him. "I will be your wife," she'd said softly, "but you must promise me one thing: never ever enter the back room of our house when the moon is full. That room is mine alone." Dubem had laughed. "Every woman deserves her privacy, I promise." And for 3 years he kept that promise. Their marriage was blissful. Amara bore him 2 sons, both strong and healthy. The crops flourished. The village elders said Dubem was blessed by the gods themselves. Then came the great drought. The river shrank to a trickle, crops withered in the fields, children cried from hunger. One by one, families began to leave Ogidi, seeking better fortunes elsewhere. But strangely, Dubem's compound remained untouched. His yam barn was still full. His children were plump and healthy. His small stream still flowed with clear water while every other source had dried to cracked mud. The village elders came to him, their faces hard with suspicion. "Dubem, how is it that you alone prosper while we all suffer? What medicine does your wife possess?" Dubem didn't know. When he asked Amara, she simply smiled. "The gods favor the faithful," she said. "Continue to trust, my husband." But trust is a fragile thing when your neighbors are dying. One night, Dubem's best friend Obi came to him in secret. Obi's daughter was sick, her lips cracked from thirst, her body burning with fever. "Please, brother," Obi begged, tears streaming down his face. "Just 1 calabash of water from your stream, just enough to save my child." Dubem's heart broke. He filled a large clay pot with water and gave it to his friend. But as Obi left, he whispered words that would haunt Dubem. "Your wife, there's something unnatural about her blessings. The old women say she never ages. They say she's been here before, long ago in our grandfather's time." The seed of doubt was planted. The next day, 3 children in the village died from the drought. Their mothers' wails filled the air, and still Dubem's water flowed. That night was the full moon. Dubem lay in bed listening to Amara's footsteps as she walked to the back room. He heard the door close. He heard singing, low and melodious in a language he'd never heard before, and beneath it the impossible sound of rushing water. His curiosity burned like fever. His 7-year-old son Chidi found him at the door. "Papa, no," the boy pleaded. "Mama said terrible things would happen." Dubem stepped back that night, the promise held barely. But the following full moon, Dubem made his decision. He told Amara he was traveling to trade for medicine. Instead, he hid in the palm grove behind their compound and waited. As the moon rose, he watched Amara walk to the forbidden room. Then he crept to the back of the house where a crack in the wall gave a view inside. What he saw stopped his breath. The room was filled with water, glowing with ethereal blue light. And in the center, where his wife had been, was a woman with a massive fishtail, scaled and shimmering. Her hair floated around her like seaweed. Her skin glowed with the same blue light. She was Mami Wata, a water spirit. Around the pool's edge sat dozens of clay pots, and from each pot water flowed endlessly into channels that led to his stream, to his farm, to his compound. She was the source of all his fortune. As he watched, Amara began to sing, and as she sang, she wept. "I give everything," she sang in that ancient language which he somehow now understood. "I drain myself to keep them alive. I sacrifice my true form for love of them. But how long can I endure? How long before there's nothing left of me but memory and salt?" Dubem stumbled backward and his foot caught a root. He fell with a crash. The singing stopped. When Dubem entered the house, Amara was there in her human form, standing in the main room. Her eyes were dry, but he could see the exhaustion in them. "You saw," she said simply. "Amara, do you know what you've done?" Her voice was calm, but underneath it was an ocean of sorrow. I am Mami Wata, yes, I am bound by ancient laws, I can love a human, I can marry one, I can bear his children, but if my husband ever breaks his vow, if he ever sees my true form, I must return to the river, forever. At dawn I must leave, and when I go, all the magic goes with me. Then the village will suffer as it does, and our sons, they are half spirit. Without me here to anchor them, they'll begin to transform. They may not survive 3 days. Dubem dropped to his knees. Tell me how to fix this, I'll do anything. Amara looked at him with those ancient eyes. There is one way, if you can find the source of the drought, the real reason the gods have abandoned the land, and fix it before dawn, the spirits will consider the balance restored. I can stay, our sons will live, but if you fail, I vanish and our children die. The priests have tried everything, Dubem said desperately. The priests look to the sky, but some curses come from the earth, from betrayals buried deep. She touched his face gently. Follow the dry riverbed north, find what was hidden, bring truth to light. Dubem ran through the night following the cracked riverbed north. The full moon lit his way. The riverbed led him past the village shrine, past the sacred grove, past the boundary stones. And then he saw it, a destroyed shrine, its stones deliberately smashed. And there at the center, a statue of Oshun, the river goddess, lay face down in the mud. Beside the broken shrine was a bundle wrapped in decaying cloth. With trembling hands, Dubem unwrapped it. Gold, bags of gold coins and jewelry, offerings that should have been given to the goddess. And beneath the gold, a carved stone with a name, Ikena, the previous village chief Obi's father. The truth crashed over Dubem. Chief Ikena had stolen from the goddess's shrine and destroyed it to hide his theft. The goddess had cursed the land in response, and everyone had suffered for one man's greed. Dubem's hands shook. Confessing would destroy Obi's family name, would devastate his best friend, but if he didn't, Amara would die, his sons would die. Secret for secret, sacrifice for sacrifice. Dawn was coming, the eastern sky was lightening, he had perhaps an hour. Dubem worked frantically, he lifted the heavy statue of Oshun, setting her upright, he rebuilt the scattered stones. He placed the stolen gold at the goddess's feet. And then he did the hardest thing. He carved the truth into the largest stone Chief Ikena stole from the goddess. The land suffers for his sin. I, Dubem, return what was taken and beg forgiveness for my people. As the first ray of sunlight touched the restored shrine, Dubem fell to his knees. Oshun, goddess of the river, I have brought truth to light. I have returned what was stolen. Please lift your curse, not for me but for the innocent, for the children, for my sons. For a long moment nothing happened. Then he heard it, the ground trembled. Water burst forth from the old shrine, clear and cold and sweet. It flowed into the dry riverbed, gathering strength, becoming a stream, then a river. The river was returning. Dubem ran faster than he'd ever run, following the newborn river toward Ogidi. The sun was fully up now, had he been fast enough. He burst into his compound, and there, standing in the doorway, was Amara, still solid, still real, still there. Beside her, Chidi and little Enkem, both looking confused but healthy. Amara smiled. You did it, the balance is restored. I've destroyed your friend's family honor, Dubem said quietly. You've saved your family's lives, Amara replied. Secret for secret, one secret revealed to protect another, that was always the price. She took his hand, and it was warm, fully human now. The magic is gone, I'm bound to human form now, truly your wife in every way. I'll age as you age, I'll die as you'll die, no more magic, we'll struggle like everyone else. Can you forgive me for breaking my promise? She pulled him close. Can you forgive me for carrying such a burden alone? We both kept secrets, my husband. Perhaps it's time we learned to share the weight. That day, when the village gathered at the restored shrine and learned the truth about their beloved former chief, there was anger and grief. Obi wouldn't speak to Dubem for months. But there was also rain. That afternoon, clouds gathered for the first time in a year, and water fell from the sky like a blessing. And in Dubem's compound, in the room that was no longer forbidden, there was only packed earth and the beginning of understanding between a man and his wife. One secret had been kept, one secret had been revealed, and in the exchange a family had been saved, a village had been healed. Years later, when their sons were grown and had children of their own, when Dubem's hair was white and Amara's hands were wrinkled from age and work, they would sit together in the evening and remember that night. Just two people growing old together with all the small, ordinary miracles that come from choosing to stay when staying is hard, from choosing truth when truth costs everything, from choosing love even when love demands the impossible. And that, they both agreed, was the deepest magic of all.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more.